What's up with Tim Hunter? We got him ready? Okay. Tim Hunter joins us, legendary Flame, legendary coach, joining us on video chat today. And I got to ask you, Coach Hunter, were your ears burning last hour? Jim Lawson was talking about you all the way from Toronto.
Oh, really? I didn't. I was doing some work, so I wasn't paying attention.
It was all good. This was great. Jim Lawson, you know him. You played with him. Former chairman of the CFL Board of Governors, now the CEO of Woodbine Entertainment in Toronto, the racetrack, told us about how you were acquired back in the day by John Brophy with his AHL team for the muscle because they had to beat up the Maine Mariners, and they brought in you to help do that. What do you remember about those times?
Well, yeah, I was playing in Birmingham, and the team folded in February, and we were in. Gord Wapple and I were the first two picks in the minor league dispersal draft. And funny how Montreal got those first two picks. So we went to Halifax and joined the Voyageurs. And my first experience going into Maine and playing against the likes of John Paddock and Ricky Hendricks and all these guys are really tough. And I beat a couple guys up and my hand was just killing me. And I said to the coach, I said, sorry, but I can't go anymore. And he goes, that's okay. He says, you don't have to fight. He says, just keep. I said, I can't play. I can't even hold my stick.
I love the story. Keep going. We're just sitting here loving the hockey stories, too, by the way. So, again, but Jim Lawson he didn't purport himself to be one of those tough guys. He kind of made it sound like they brought you in to take care of that. Jim wasn't a fighter, was he?
No, by all means, no. He was, no, and it was funny. I wasn't really, I was playing defense at the time. My defense partner, Gord Wapple, he lives in Regina. I was drafted as a defenseman and played the minor league as a defenseman. I got my first call up to the NHL. I played forward, so funny how that worked, but. No, we had a good team in Halifax. Dan Doe, Guy Carbonneau, Bill Root, Craig Levy, a whole bunch of guys that ended up playing in the NHL or some time in the NHL, and including Carbo had a great career in the NHL.
Well, and Jim Lawson said he was roommates with Carbo on that team. And I just got to tell all you young kids around here, you see all those construction signs that say Wapple Construction around this town? That's who Tim's talking about. Gordy Wapple, who still plays, by the way. He must have been tough, eh, Tim?
Yeah, Gord didn't have. He was a finesse guy. He didn't have to fight very much. He never did. He left that up to me, and I took care of his light work. He used to joke. But Gord was a great guy, great mentor for me in the minors in my first couple of years. Played with him in Birmingham, then in Halifax, and then next year down in Oklahoma City, and then a little bit in Colorado. Gord played a little bit in Calgary, and then he was traded later on to St. Louis. But just a great guy to teach you the right way. And Gord's method was, Hunts, do everything I don't do, or don't do anything I do. Because what I'm doing is not working. I'm not in the NHL, and you want to be in the NHL, so don't follow me. But we just laugh at that, have a few beers. In those days, Gord, they had a child, and in the minors, he's the only guy so he couldn't go to the bar after the game or anything to have some fun. We'd go to the Wapples, bring our own beer, sit around, have a few laughs, and Gord would make chicken wings, and that's my first go-around with chicken wings in the early 80s, and you would go to Albertsons and buy chicken wings 10 cents a pound. Like they were almost giving them away. And then all of a sudden they became popular. And I don't know what they are now a pound. But the good old days in the minors, you learn the ropes and have good people that help you along the way. Obviously, John Brophy was one of those. He told me, he met me, and he said, listen, you've got a couple chances of making the NHL. One, you'd be the best defenseman in the CHL, or the meanest mother effer in the CHL. He says, take a choice. I said, can I try both? And he laughed. He says, you can try both. I don't know if it'll happen. But just being, and then when I went in the minor league dispersal draft. He was, 5 months ago, we couldn't give Tim Hunter away, and here he is, the second overall pick, and then dispersal draft. Every team's calling they want him. So that was pretty good for me, and having guys like that, and Bert Templeton along the way as well, just teaching you the ropes, teaching you how to play hard and play to who you are and play to your strengths, for sure.
Well, and Lawson brought up Templeton, too. By the way, a Blades fan, Janelle's watching in Saskatoon. She says, I could listen to Tim Hunter's stories all day long. He's just the best. Bet you didn't think you'd get a comment like that out of Saskatoon, right, Tim? But listen,
yeah, for sure.
This is what somebody said to me the other day about Don Cherry. They said what they're missing. Well, how did we know about the American Hockey League as young kids growing up around here? Because of Don Cherry. Telling these stories on Hockey Night in Canada because of his book. That's a huge void gone from Grapes. Maybe you said it. Was it you that said that? Mm-hmm. It was you, DuPont. Your buddy DuPont said that, Tim. Now, there he is.
Oh, hi, Tim.
Hi there. How are you?
So moving on to these Stanley Cup playoffs, Tim. In your mind, what's been the best first-round series?
Well, I really liked the Tampa series. It was looking pretty good, and then Tampa put their foot on the gas and put them away against Columbus. But I've liked the Calgary series as well. It's been a good series too, and some good hockey. And then last night I stopped watching after the second period of the Vancouver St. Louis series, and I think that's a heck of a series as well. It's really been something. All the series, all the teams that are continuing to play, Washington Islanders is a great series. I haven't seen a lot of that, but saw OV kind of take over the other night and score a big goal and sealed the deal for them and so the last 8 teams standing are. It's going to be interesting to see who finishes the job here and gets into the next round.
And you didn't even mention Philly-Montreal, which, by the way, has been my favorite, but as a goaltender series, and it's been a throwback from a 70s type Flyers-Canadian series. I've loved that one. So they've all been great. We're just picking amongst all good things here. Go ahead. Did you have something on that?
Well, yeah, I was going to the Montreal series. That's another one of my favorites. That's that competitive series, and it's we talked earlier about the minors. I played my first year pro in the minors against Lane Vigneault and Claude Julien. They played in Salt Lake City together. They were in the St. Louis Blues farm team, and they're both defensemen. And here Claude goes down, and God bless him. I hope he has a good recovery. And then Elaine's in Philadelphia, and he's giving Kirk Muller a hard time about running the score up and having his power play out at the end of the game. And, I get all that, but, Kirk's doing exactly what he's trying to do, is keep his team ready. And, if you need a team to take their foot off the gas in the playoffs, shame on you. I think that's a bit ridiculous. But, and then, the story last night was or the night before, during the day when Nick Suzuki taps Carter Hart in the head. Well, they were teammates and they're pals, so they played together. I think he was just saying, "Hey, pal, tough one there." And as he went by, and obviously looking back at it, looks a little bad, but it goes a little deeper. They played in the World together, and it goes a little deeper than that. So, kids today are kind of like that. They beat a guy one-on-one and score a goal, and then they skate by him and they apologize. Hey, sorry about that. Sorry to make you look bad, but too bad.
So,
it's just
Tim,
the nature of the beast.
We got all kinds of viewer questions, if you're okay with answering some of them.
Sure.
And I'm going to try and remember them all because there's a lot. They want to ask you about the 94 Cup run with Vancouver, which we'll get to. But to me, most importantly, David in Winnipeg wants your thoughts on playing against Dale Hawerchuk as we lost him on Tuesday at age 57.
Yeah, for sure. And I sent a tweet out in condolences to his family and his son, Eric. Playing against Winnipeg in those days, we had the big three, Edmonton, Calgary, and Winnipeg. And Winnipeg was always so close. John Ferguson, he made that team so competitive, and the guys after him. And the big reason why they're competitive was because they had such a star and such a great player like Dale Howardchuk, and they could never seem to get take the next step, whether it was goaltending or just a guy. I mean, they had some great players, Randy Carlisle, Paul McLean, Jim Nill. They had a real good team, but playing against Howardchuk, you always had that respect because he was clean, always kind of smiling, never smirky, but just happy to be playing and happy to be in the game and be a leader in a game. And you always had that sense of class when you're around him. I didn't know him, never got to know him, never played it with him, but just against him. And he really represented that team with class all the time. And it's a real shame when you're getting up into close to 60 and all these guys in their mid 50s and that lose their lives to cancer, and that puts you on alert a little bit for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. So Brian in Vancouver wants to know your thoughts on, or what your recollections are of the 94 Cup run with the Canucks.
Well, my biggest thing is just how close we were as a team, and we didn't have a great regular season. We ended up playing the Flames in the first round, and they were the top seed, and was kind of the flip flop of when Calgary won. We beat Vancouver, but we were the top seed, and they were the underdog, but it was a bit of the other way around, and we were the underdog, so just Pat made sure that we were really well connected as a group. The guys in the dressing room took care of the room as far as leadership. He left that to us, and then the rest was the technical stuff was to Pat. But we policed any issues were going on. He would bring the leadership group in and sit around and have a beer with Pat and tell us what he needed to work, what he needed to have, and left it to us to get it done. And whether it was somebody just stepping on the line off the ice or not working hard enough in practice or, what have you. But the one thing when Pat, if he ever laid the boom, if he got mad, it was look out. And my favorite story about Pat Quinn, and I don't know if I've told it on here, but we were in Winnipeg, and speaking of Winnipeg, in the old arena, and they had these big 45-gallon steel drums as garbage cans in the dressing room. So I learned the truth of this story and the byline later on, coaching with Ron Wilson, who was our assistant coach at the time. And Pat, we were losing to Winnipeg after the first period, and Pat came in and he swatted the 5-gallon Gatorade pail across the room like it was a cup of Gatorade. And I was like, oh boy, he's mad. And then he ran it in, and then he proceeded to kick the garbage can. And the garbage can didn't move. And I was sitting by the door when Pat went by, and he had this look on his face like, oh man, pain. So later on, Ron Wilson was telling me, he says, hey, Hans, you remember that time when Pat, how coaches, they got to put an act on now and again. And so Pat kind of wanted to act up to get us going and try to kickstart us. So he'd come in, he thought he'd throw a few things around, swear a little bit, and then, be on his way. And he says, well, Pat kicked the garbage can on his way out, but he didn't realize that half the garbage can was filled up with cement, so no one stole the garbage can. So he says, he comes in, he goes, how was that, guys? They said, great, Pat, but how's your toe? He goes, I think I broke my effing toe. So that's a classic Pat.
I think you're going to be the next Don Cherry. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, next Don Cherry.
With stories
I don't know if there'll ever be another. There won't be another Don Cherry, I'm sure. That takes something. He's a special person to do that job for sure.
Absolutely. Well, people really love the stories, clearly, because the comments are going crazy here on your stories. But just before I let you go, to Braden Point, you coached him in Moose Jaw. He's got 2 OT winners now. They're putting him in the record books with LeCavalier and Martin St. Louis. And he's got a long ways to go to break records from those guys. Can you just talk about what he's doing in Tampa?
Well, I was asked the other day from some reporters in Calgary about why is Brayden Point able to score these big goals? And great players put themselves in a position to score big goals because they go out every shift trying to be a difference maker, not just going through the motions or going out at just another shift. Pointer goes out every shift to do something, to make something happen. And I remember in Moose Jaw, if I needed something done, a face-off one to get the puck out of our end, I just put Pointer up. Even if he was tired, he would just will the puck across the line. And, you know, that's the way it is in the NHL. These guys, he has a special skill, but the special part of Braden Point is his will to want to win and the will to want to compete. And that started when he was a young kid, wanted to be an NHL player, going through the Western Hockey League, doing everything he could to be successful, listening to his coaches, learning, training hard, living the right way, and then getting to the NHL and doing the same things, and just going out every shift and competing his rear end off. And that's what great players do. That's the difference between an average player and a great player. You know, couple in the skill set that he has, of course, but he just wants to make her, and he puts himself in the position to do that every night and every shift.
Fun to watch, for sure. Tim, appreciate the time. Let's do it again soon, please. Enjoy these Stanley Cup playoffs and enjoy the day. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Tim Hunter joining us from the cabin today with hockey stories that we know could go on and on and on, and I would have, except we got to take a commercial here because I think our next guest is ready to roll. But we thank Tim Hunter for the time. Lots to add. We'll be right back. It's the RP Show you're watching on Game Plus TV Network across North America. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts and leave us a review and listen live at rodpeterson.com.
You're watching Rod Peterson On Demand. For more of The Rod Peterson Show, visit rodpeterson.com or follow Rod Peterson on social media.